Morning, good morning, good morning. It's literally the morning for me, y'all. I had to yawn. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I had to yawn. Like real bad though. I had to yawn real bad though. But good morning, everybody. Um, we have a lot that is gonna go on today. I have a lot of appointments this afternoon. But also I have an interview at 11 o'clock with AT2. Hi, AT2. Good morning. I'm just going to clear some things up. I want to be very candid. I'm going to be answering any questions that AT2 has for me. And I know that people are inquisitive and want to get into some things. So I'm going to let them go ahead and get into it. I understand how people could be like wanting to know what went on, what happened, why this, why that. People have questions about my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. I'm just gonna just be open, candid, honest, and true, which is why we have our name, True Diamond. Okay, period. Your girl True is going to be completely true, open, and honest about every single thing that is asked of me. That is the point in doing this interview. I'm excited about it. I'm happy that I get the chance to clear some things up. I think I was telling people the worst part of coming out of there for me is to get out and kind of like realize all these people that you're around, like the demons, the monsters. You know what I'm saying? And just you don't realize it as much when you're in there. You do realize it, mind you, because I had two 70-year-olds that were doing life behind murdering their husbands come after me one time, and I had to be like, I wish the I would with two 70-year-olds, but it was like people were waiting for me to react so that they could um have something to say or step in and try to, what I mean, try it. Like they were waiting, but I'm not. That's never gonna be my character. I'm never gonna be the type of woman to be like, oh, I don't give a dang on what age you at. Like these women have probably had dementia, child. Anyway, I wanted to come live and tell y'all that I will be doing that this morning at 11 o'clock. Also, as far as this parole board commission thing with the Menendez brothers, we're going to go over there to that. Let me tell y'all why this is a little bit rough for me. Obviously, it gives me memories, right? Obviously, it gives me memories of being at my own parole board. And with that being said, that can bring back some crazy memories. When I was at my parole board, first of all, I didn't make my first parole board. Y'all all know that if you don't know that by now. Um, I didn't make my first parole board. That was a very, very rough experience. I'll tell you why on AT2's channel later at 11 o'clock. Excuse me, my goodness. So yeah, that was rough for me not making that particular board. Um, the board of commissioners, only two of the three showed up, and Nani had on this long blue wig and these long blue nails. And the commissioner, there was a black lady, a white lady, and a white man. And the black lady turned to Nani and she said, "And you better be good." I said, "Oop." And oop, they turned from me. I had no reason to be denied my parole. I didn't have any institutional violence that was on record. As we know, I fought, but it wasn't on record. I didn't get caught. Um, I had no institutional violence. I only had one major write up, and my major write up was not for drugs or contraband or a cell phone or stealing somebody's stuff. It was for leaving a program. If you leave this one program, they give you a major write up for failure to participate. That was the only major write up I had. My my counselor wrote on there that I was a model inmate. I had great behavior. I respected the staff. Um, I didn't have any incidents with staff except for one situation with one woman because they were speed dating in that mug. They were thinking they were in there. I don't know why all the officers was dating each other, and I used to flirt a lot. I used to flirt with Mr. Parr. He was a white man, and I used to flirt with him because he was fine as hell. He was a wigger, and he loved him some black women, and he used to sit up and talk to me. And his girlfriend was a black lady. She was a lieutenant. Her name was Clink Scale, and she jumped. She was tall and skinny, but she's more masculine than him. She's bisexual, but she's more on the butch side. But she does like men, obviously, because she was dating Mr. Parr. And she jumped in my face one day and she said, "I'm tired of your shit," and this and that and the other. And she was pointing her finger down on at me. And I said, "This is unprofessional, and I'm gonna make sure I do a grievance." And I walked down the hallway, and she said, and we arguing, yelling down the hallway, literally of the prison. It was so crazy. And she said, "You better shut your damn mouth, little girl." I said, "Bitch, I'm 40 years old with two grown adult children. Ain't nobody little in this. I said, ain't no girls in this prison. Ain't nobody little in this prison. This is an adult prison." And then I shook my head and walked off. And then that later that day, she walked up to me on the yard. Mr. Parr told me, give her a chance, because he was the yard officer that day. I was finna walk away. He stopped me and he told me, give her a chance, give her a chance. And she apologized. She apologized for running up on me like that. She knew it was unprofessional, and she knew it was behind her man. It didn't have nothing to do with her job. That was behind her white man. And so I accepted her apology, but I just never liked her from that point on. She just was not it for me from that point on. I was just done with Clink Scales after that. But cause like it's like, girl, you really feel like I want your man? Like, I mean, I understand I'm in the prison and I'm probably a little bit thirsty up in here, cause like, where's the men, right? Obviously I'm in here with a whole bunch of women. I'm not gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to be gay, I had every opportunity to be gay in that mug. I tell y'all right now. But that's not how I get down, so it didn't happen. You know what I mean? So I'm in there for 3 years. No touch, no nothing. Just nothing. Okay? I didn't even touch myself in there. That was crazy. I think that's the worst part about being in prison, is the lack of human touch. And then one time when I tried to hug this old lady, she's so institutionalized. She looked at me like I lost my damn mind. She looked at me like, "Bitch, I know you didn't touch me." Like, she just was that institutionalized. She's like 80 something years old. And she's just been there since she was 19. She's a serial killer. She's killed 13 people. And she was one of my favorite people. And I had no idea. She's so sweet. Such a sweet little old lady. I had no idea that she was in there for that. In the book that I'm writing, you guys will so let me tell y'all how my books work. Okay, so they're kind of like a trilogy. I have this one that I'm about to release first, and I'm about to release this one soon because it's not a long book. um I'm about to release this book first. This is the first little piece of it, and it's just the beginning. It's me describing how I come from being a single mother to and it even tells you about my daughter, my kids' fathers and stuff, into being a blogger, how the idea came along, how that went for me, how my life looked before I became a content creator, and it goes into how much money I was making the first month, and then the first year, some of the run-ins that I had with some of my fans, because I used to think it was cool to go see my fans, like, and just hang out with them and stuff like that, and how that could go wrong and steer you wrong. You know, people get unalived like that. So I do that, and then I start talking about I did talk about my first few years of blogging. I go into the R. Kelly stuff because I was involved in that very heavily. You know, went to the Savage's house. We're going to talk about that and what the result of me going to the Savage's house is. And the Savages is R. Kelly's girlfriend's parents. So we're gonna talk about that on AT2's channel today as well. That led to a situation with me with another blogger as well. And I just get into a whole lot of stuff. And so this book is a short one. I kind of just got to the point, right? The first book. But the way that my books are set up, there's about 5 or 6 books, and they all literally coincide with each other. So you have to realize, while I am in jail, I'm in prison, and I'm writing about how I got there, I'm also journaling every day about what's going on while I'm there, right? So I'm writing literally. The way the books are set up, it's like a trilogy. They have so much information packed into them that coincides one with the other, that you would literally have to read them all to get the full picture. You'd be like, damn. Like, the way they read is, I don't know how this happened. It's genius. I don't know how it happened. It's just genius. And it reminds me of this one writer named Ashley Antoinette. Her book Ethic, and then Moth to a Flame, and Prada Prada Girl, or something, some book like that. Um, those books are so well put together. Butterflies. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of those books. We're going to get into some new books, some books that I read while I was in prison. I still have all those books. They're literally right here next to me. I read like over 100 books while I was there. So we are going to, on my Patreon, after I finish reading, because we about to start Common's book. And so, yes, Jennifer Hudson's Common. So after we finish reading his book, I think I got a few more books to upload, and then we will be starting in on our new books. But yeah, it's definitely going down, going down, going down, down, down. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell, Yante? Now let me hope it wasn't no phone numbers on there. Y'all know people like to pause the screen and get the acting of food, child. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. I have to actually sit here and watch my own video and make sure that you can't see much. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Okay. All right, hold on, y'all. Let me just make sure. Let me see what was on there. Hold on. Oh, nope. We in a safe. We in a safe. We safe. Okay, it wasn't no phone numbers on there. I just wanted to make sure nobody's phone number was on there for people to start calling. Just a few names, no phone numbers. So thank goodness. Okay. So anyway, yeah, you'd have to read all of the books to understand the full picture is what I was saying. Hey, Manifest Reality. Let me see. Hey, Jessica P. Yes, one never knows the type of minds you will encounter. Right. Okay, Madonna. Okay, I got you. I got you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, yes, and I will get back there, Manifest Reality. Trust me. I will definitely get back there. It's definitely on the way. I just have more planned and more in store and more and more and more. And I'm not really sure why God felt the need to humble me down so hard, because I'm like totally like, Lord God, please. I get it. Um, but this was a deep humbling, like it's wild. It's very wild. um Cindy Lauper before Madonna. Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah, so we are, I'm thinking about doing, so again, I have a bunch of channels. You guys know that. Um I'm really thinking about doing setting up one of my older channels to be my celebrity blog channel. It's just that those channels be so unstable. I just don't like the unstableness of it all. And then I'm gonna keep my Rumble, um, also. But then I was Thinking about, I have a law and crime channel, right? So let me see. Hold on, let me see. I don't want nothing to pop up. Hold on, let me go get it. Okay. All right. So it would be the. So it comes up as Detox OT Law and Crime, but when I type that in, this is what comes up. So let me see. Maybe it would pull up under the Truh T. My channels have not been pulling up. There it is. That one pulled up. So this is one of my channels, actually. This is my channel. This is my law and crime channel. Um, I really don't be on this channel. Like, I blogged on this channel 3 months ago, and that was it. It already has 2,003 subs on it. As you can see, I was on it years ago, but I deleted all my videos. And I'm kind of like starting over on this channel. But yeah, this is one of my channels that I feel like I'm really going to get into more and like start doing my law and crime over here. Um, yeah, so you kind of shy. No, don't be shy. Listen. There, as far as, okay, so manifest reality. You got to remind me too. Don't ever think that I'm ignoring you. Don't ever think that I'm not paying attention to you, or that I'm just trying to fall off of helping you. I have a lot of people that contact me through the day in the DMs and stuff. Most of the people that follow me on Instagram, because y'all know I had to start my Instagram over right before I went in there, because at the end of the day, and I'm so mad about it, all my celebrity pictures, all my pictures with Rashida, Bambi, Sierra, Brasco, Sass, Scrappy, all them pictures are gone because Instagram decided to delete my my chat my Instagram, and I don't have that phone anymore. So all that stuff is like gone, and it's really disturbing for real. But and there was more. There was me and Tammy Roman, but I have those on my backup. So yeah, don't ever think I'm ignoring you. Just remind me if you ever feel like you know there's an issue with that. Okay. Also, y'all, I've been getting my poems together for Teahive Bookclub. This is another one of my channels, obviously, as you guys can see. 2.31K. I don't even blog on it. Have not done anything on it. With that being said, I was reading some books on it, as you can see. Like you can see by the, I'm sitting here reading, as you can see. Money is the motive. A couple of other books that I read up there. Jump Off, Industry Tell All. Couple of other, things that I put up. I want to do something different with this channel. So this is Teahive Book Club. This is what's up there. The Jump Off is up there. Money is the motive is up there. Um, the Donald Trump Tell All book, I think I was just talking crap about that. Yeah, so that's up there. Carlita Hodges, Demetria Smith's sister's book is up there. So this is what is currently on that channel. I was definitely reading on the channel. So if you guys want to go over there, read and subscribe, Teahive Book Club, I will put the link on my wall. Matter of fact, because I'm here, I can do it right now. Um, so I'll just copy the link. Oh wait, I can't do it while I'm live. I don't think I can. Will it take me off live? Let's see. Did it? Am I still live? Wow, wow. Okay. Well, it's good to know the type of stuff you could do on here. But yeah, let's get to the Menendez Madness. Oh my goodness gracious, the Menendez Madness. Eric Menendez denied parole 36 years after unaliving his parents. I know he is shitting in his pants. No, I don't know how they do it out there up in California, because y'all, God bless them girls, but I do not want to go to prison in California. Oh no, oh no. My twin was telling me about how she had to fight to get in her own room one time, and then she was like, fuck it, we just gonna fight then. I'm just gonna have to get this big bitch in line about this room, because I can't do it. So, listen. Now, the reason for his denial is crazy. It's one of the things that this is why I was on my best behavior while I was in there. Because I'm a think ahead, goal oriented, goal reaching type of person. Right? I didn't used to think about consequences a lot. That was one thing that I failed to do. That's why I ended up taking my ass to prison in the first place. Yes, I was gonna run outside with a hammer and bust somebody upside their damn head and not think about the fact that they could die and you could end up in jail for manslaughter or red rum, like, or murder. Like, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? Yes, I would get drunk and get on camera and say certain things and da 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 da. That's the old me. It's the unpolished me. It's a immature, undeveloped character me, and that was bad. That was horrible, and I mean like completely horrible. So it's like, when I got to prison, I was determined to learn something from it. That's how you don't waste your own time. You think I didn't know I was going to be sitting in there with my years sitting there, wasting years away of my life? I didn't want to waste them. So I wrote, and I stayed productive every day. I created a board game while I was in there. The whole pod played it, and the girl that won started crying. I said, oh yeah, no, this is real. I wrote 16 children's books while I was in there. I'm in the middle of typing one out as we speak, literally right now. And when I first read it to the pod, I had a couple white girls in there shedding tears. They was crying. So it's like, right, manifest reality. You ain't lying, child. So I will never forget the way that it feels to be sitting in there and being determined to learn something. Now you got to realize, Eric Menendez, he thought he was going to be in there for the rest of his life. He doesn't understand the way God works. He had no faith, and now he's paying for being faithless. Okay, what he did was he had contraband. These are the write-ups that I'm telling y'all about. That's why I said I never had any of that stuff. Okay, my MJ62, let me tell y'all something. That's contraband. That's a contraband charge. These are in-house charges I'm about to talk to y'all about, okay? A major is a MJ, a G is a general, and a minor is a M, okay? I've had G13s, which is a general. She's not listening. She didn't do what I asked her to do. I told her to go in her room, and she decided to stay in the pod, okay? A G14, fighting, but not a big fight. No blood was shed. You might have been arguing. Somebody might have got pushed. A MJ14, big fight. Somebody got bussed over the head with a hot pot. Okay? A MJ62, contraband. I got an MJ62, and I just felt like it was total BS. Now, this is a major write-up, right? And mind you, I just told y'all the only major write-up I had was for failure to participate. So this is how that happens. You might get the write-up. You might get in-house charges for it, right? What happened was I was doing my dreads. Y'all, if y'all don't know, my dreads are interlocked. And I've explained that on previous videos. My dreads are interlocked, and I was showing y'all how I was interlocking them while I was in prison. In the middle of me interlocking my dreads, here comes a correctional officer talking about she wants to search my room. So I'm like, cool, I don't got shit. I take the needle from my head, which we have the right to buy sewing kits, and we have the right to buy grease. I take the needle from my head and I put it in the grease. She gives me a major write-up for contraband. Now, they dropped it because I showed receipts that I had for the needle and the thread and the grease, but they just let me know, in prison you cannot stick the needle in the grease because it seems that's you in prison. You're not in the free world. You just can't do shit like that. So it was a learning curve for me. But that major got dropped. Eric Menendez, and I said all that to say this. Eric Menendez was doing stuff in there that was getting him in-house charges, major write-ups, MJs, okay? And he was not, it doesn't seem like he was fighting for himself at all. As a matter of fact, before I even read this, I can tell y'all for a fact I seen him say something about that he admitted that he had a cell phone because he never thought that he was going to get out. He admitted that to the parole board commissioners. Are you out of your stink mind? This man don't even know how to do a parole hearing. And he got himself denied. So sad. Eric Menendez was denied parole at his first ever parole hearing on Thursday. He's 36 years. This is 36 years and one day after he and his brother unalived his parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. This man is now 54 years old, and he went to a 10-hour hearing via a video from the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego. The board said, oh my Lord, he got dumped for 3 years, y'all. He got dumped for 3 years on his board. That is devastating. My prison mother just got dumped for 3 years too. So sad. The board based its decision on multiple factors, including illegal cell phones Eric Menendez possessed while in prison, burglaries he participated in before the murder, and the killing of his mother. Right? Like these people, Eric and Lyle Menendez were bad from the very jump. They were bad. They were not good. They was already doing little stuff. It just escalated. And a lot of the time, when you feel when the parole board sees that your crimes have escalated, and they will write that on the paper. They will write that this person's crimes did nothing but escalate. So no, the unaliving of your mother especially showed a lack of empathy and reason, says Robert Barton, one of the commissioners. I can't put myself in your place. I don't know that I ever had rage to that level either. Ever, Barton said. But that is still concerning, especially since it seems she was also a victim herself to DV. Barton noted that Eric Menendez could have left his parents' home when he was 18. He could have gone to the police or stayed with some relatives. We recognize and understand that many sexual assault victims find it hard to come forward, especially when the perpetrators are family members. Eric said he unalived his mother because she had betrayed him. I saw my mother. Now listen to how that sounds to people that's sitting from the outside in. And he thinks, hey, bossy, and he thinks that's normal for him to sit there and say, yeah, she betrayed me, so I unalived her. That's how you're a monster in these people's eyes. You're a monster. They're interviewing monsters. They sit up and interview dark-spirited, demonic demons all day. Do you think that they don't look at you like that? Why would you ever sit there and say, yeah, she betrayed me, so I unalived that bitch? What? That's not normal to think that it's okay to unalive somebody because they betrayed you. Like, do you know how many people get betrayed and walk away? Why were you still living in their home, sir? You were a whole adult living off of these people. Crazy. I saw my mother and my father as one person after I learned that she knew about Jose Menendez allegedly sexually abusing him. So when I was running into the den, I was in a state of terror, of panic, of rage. Barton noted that it is Eric Menendez's behavior in prison, not the seriousness of the crime, that's the primary reason for the denial. Now, mind you, again, I am saying what I'm saying from the commissioner's point of view. Okay? From the commissioner's point of view, not my own. Right? So, because at the end of the day, I do feel like it's horrible what they're alleging happened to them. They were able to pull up some family members that said that things were a little bit weird, a little bit rickety in their household. And they could see how that would be true. Okay? Understandable. However, this still wasn't the way to handle it, which is why they are convicted and put in prison. And his statements to the commission, as well as his behavior in prison and his crime, is all a recipe for hell to the no. Don't let this man out nowhere. Don't let him get no girlfriend and feel betrayed. Lord, help her. Okay? All right, contrary to your supporters' belief, you have not been a model prisoner, and frankly, we find that a little disturbing. Barton noted that Eric Menendez's inappropriate behavior with visitors, drug smuggling, misuse of state computers, and violent incidents. The board also took issue with Eric Menendez illegally using cell phones while leading rehabilitative groups. Now, mind you, when you are in the prison, you do become the leader of some stuff. I was just reading some of my poems, and in my poetry book, right? So my poetry book that I am currently writing is based around my experience in prison. It's my pains, it's my good times, it's me missing certain people, it's da da da. I taught a class when I was in there. I had a poetry class when I was in the STARS program. And you guys know that there's prostitutes in prison. They're in there for unaliving people or robbing them or whatever they're in there for. Okay. And so I decided to have a poetry class because I would do painting some days I would do different stuff. But in my poetry class, I let someone pick the topic, and her topic was a good 304. Then that means that everybody in the class, including me, if I want to, has to write about being a good 304. And we did, and I'm going to put all of that in my poetry book. Um, and you guys will get the chance to see gradually how these poems came to and took place, and you'll get to see like exactly what was going on while I was in there just through these poems alone. But anyway, after denying him parole, Barton said to Eric, "You have two options. One is to have a pity party, and then you become a self-fulfilling prophecy, probably not getting granted parole next time, or you can take to heart what we discussed. I hope that the people that are out there supporting you continue to motivate you. I believe in redemption, or I wouldn't be doing this job, but based on the legal standards, we find that you continue to pose a reasonable risk of public safety." Now, his job from this point on, basically what the commissioner is telling him, is that it's his job to not have any write-ups, any financial, any institutional violence, any, because I don't know if you guys know, but Eric Menendez did a fraud scam while he was in prison as well. He did a money scam while he was in there. They don't have much support like that while they're in there, which is why they got those wives. But then they end up having issues with their wives. A lot of things went on. Um, so yeah, but he's been doing a lot. He's been doing drugs. He's been smuggling drugs. He's been doing money laundering, fraud, all types of stuff, phones, just all types of stuff. Definitely, institutional violence will get you dropped from your parole board. That's a fact. And he's got all of those, right? Because again, he lacked faith and he don't, like, it's like almost like he didn't believe in God and didn't understand what God could do for him. But this is maybe God waking him up and showing him like, look, I can move in your life, but you got to let me in there. You know what I'm saying? He need to go pray, get in church, get some of them certificates that you get from going to celebrate recoveries, different stuff like that. Get certified in some stuff, get a whole bunch of education, and work on yourself. Get into some of them self-healing groups and start working on himself so he can come out and be a whole person at this point, because it sounds to me like he's totally institutionalized and just doing anything in there because he's institutionalized. That's what it sounds like. Eric Menendez, Eric Menendez's aunt and Jose Menendez's sister, Terry Belralt, said, "Although I love my brother and I've fully forgiven Eric, Eric carries himself with kindness, integrity, and strength that comes from patience and grace." She's 85 years old. She's battling colon cancer. She said, "More than anything, I hope I live long enough to welcome him into my home, to sit at the same table, to wrap my arms around him." Eric Menendez's relatives, who've been pushing for his release, said in a statement, "While we respect the decision, today's outcome was disappointing and was not what we hoped for, but our belief in Eric remains unwavering. We know he'll take the recommendation that the board gave him in stride. His remorse, growth, and positive impact he had on others speak for itself. We will continue to stand by him and hold on to the hope that he'll be able to return home soon." Um, So Barton said she was amazed by the support from Eric Menendez's Relatives, I'm sorry, he, which is the commissioner, Barton said he was amazed by the support. He said two things can be true. They can love you and forgive you, and you can still be found unsuitable for parole. Oop. And I, oop. Wow. The parole hearing for his brother, 57-year-old Lau Menendez, will be Friday. Goodness, Lau. I really hope that Lau has not been in there ruining himself and acting a plumb fool. Um, it's almost like when I look at these two old men, I don't see, I don't see that they're red rummers. I don't see unalivers. I see two goofy ass. Like I don't. It's like you can't see it in there, and those are the worst type. And I think that the parole board knows that. Like that's the worst type, the ones that have that deceiving, manipulative look to them. Cause I mean, you don't see that. I kind of see white collar, hard working, go to the office. I don't see unaliver, robbers, scammer. You don't see it, and that's very dangerous. So tomorrow we turn our attention to Lyle's hearing. The statement from the brothers' relative continued. And while it is undoubtedly difficult, we remain cautiously optimistic and hopeful that the commissioner will see in Lyle what so many others have, a man who's taken responsibility, transformed his life, and he's ready to come home. The board members' decisions focus on one question: would Eric Menendez pose an unreasonable risk to society if released? Well, let's hope that Lyle don't go to the hearing and say, I unalived her because she betrayed me. Sir, that's not gonna make it. And also, when you go to your parole board, you don't want to lean too much into religion either, because a lot of people are wavering in their religion. It's like I feel like I needed to give him advice. I know that was his first parole board hearing. I feel like he bombed it, and that was pretty bad. Um, so yeah, does Lau pose an unreasonable risk to society if released? The LA County District Attorney Nathan Hotchman opposed the Menendez brothers' release, claiming that they have not demonstrated full insight into their crimes or shown that they've been fully rehabilitated, and therefore they continue to pose a risk to society. And see, then you have outside factors as well, right? Because they wouldn't necessarily have their victims showing up to oppose their release, because their victims are obviously not here, but they have the whole district attorney opposing their release, which is kind of the same as the voice of the victims. It's like he's speaking on behalf of the victims and then also on behalf of his office. It's like that's a double-edged sword right there. A recently completed risk assessment said Eric and Lau Menendez pose a moderate risk to the community if released. I think that's BS. I think we all pose a moderate risk. Not in the ways that they have, but like, if somebody run up if they wanted, I mean, I don't know. That part of me was the inmate part. But I'm just saying, I just feel like everybody poses a moderate risk. Anybody can pose a moderate risk. I'm just saying. The assessment revealed the brothers possessed illegal cell phones, so they both did, among numerous other violations, and though many are not recent. However, Eric Menendez had a phone as recent as January of 2025, which Hodgman stressed during his resentencing effort, when he should have been on his best behavior. Absolutely. If you know that you have a parole hearing coming up, why would you, in January of this year, be having a cell phone? Like, things are getting, that's when you just don't give a damn. You just literally just don't even give a damn. It then got crazy in your mind. You like, man, they ain't finna let me out. You have no faith, and you just bomb this. And again, the parole board will go back 20 years. You'll be in there for 80 years, and you'll get paroled. You'll have a parole hearing on the 81st year, and they'll go back to the first year you was in there and be like, well, you was fighting in 1974. I see you have a fight on record. And you like, ma'am, it's 2025. And she's like, well, in 1975, you had 2 fights. And in 1976, you had 3 fights. And you bit somebody in that one. Like, they will go back like that. They literally They really like that. Like they really like that. So it's a hot mess, and Lord, I could imagine all of the things that these brothers have done uh, in 36 years. So it's kind of like it's almost not fair, but then it also is just the way it's the nature of the beast, honey. Okay, when you go to prison, shit is not fair, and it's just that simple. You should have took your ass there. And that's one thing that I loved about my dad. That's what I was trying to tell y'all. Like, shit been so real for me. I used to be crying like, Dad, I'm around rapists, and one of my bunkies was a freaking rapist. She raped her little sister with her boyfriend and had her little sister's fluids on her hand, ugh. And so, and when I say fluid, I'm talking about Crips and Bloods. And it's just like, ugh, why would you do something like that? And so I started crying, like, bro, they got me in a room with a rapist, and I was crying. I was really distraught. It really just bothered me. And then my dad, and I got on the phone with my dad, and I said, Dad, they got me in here with red rummers, with unalivers and grapists. He said, you know what? He said, you know what you do if you don't want to be around them type of people? Don't take your ass to prison. I said, you better keep it real then, Dad. You better keep it real, okay? So anyway, these people possess a moderate threat to society. Um, Eric had a phone as of January. Eric Menendez had one write-up for violence 25 years ago. And y'all see they still brought that up today. Y'all see they still brought that up yesterday in his hearing. Okay? They didn't give a damn. They didn't give a damn. They still brought that up. Okay? And then on top of that, what happened to my stream? Hold on. One of my streams just went down. I'm on several different things. Okay. And so yeah, he had a write up for violence 25 years ago. Lyle Menendez has no institutional violence. That is going to be a huge plus, a huge plus on his end. That is great. I am that now we have some hope for Lyle, because the institutional violence is one of the ones that they really really hold against you um at board. Like, they really punch that shit home, as far as board is concerned. And I think I'm starting to feel like Lyle has a chance here. Okay? And I'm not just speaking from the outside looking in. This is some stuff that I've been through. I could never sit here and tell y'all this stuff, and how I know that Eric Menendez bombed his own parole board hearing with just those simple words. I unalived her because she betrayed me. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear you taking responsibility. I unalived her because I was in an emotional state. I was in a manic state. I should have went and gotten help. However, I didn't. My emotional state led me to do actions that I fully regret. I've paid for them for the last 36 years. I realized no matter how I felt at the time, that my actions were wrong. And through my rehabilitation and my growth process within this facility, I realized that no one deserved that. And I have to live with that every day of my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't start being like, oh, I killed her because she betrayed me. Like, that's how you sound to these people. That's how you sound to these people. You don't sound like you're taking responsibility at all. It's not okay, Eric. Okay. All right. Barton said he considered the risk assessment report to be neutral, which means nobody was being biased in regards to that. The brothers were initially sentenced to life without the possibility of parole in the 1989 Red Rums. Lyle Menendez was 21, Eric was 18, both of age that they could have been out of their parents' home. So confused. And the brothers said that they committed the Red Rums in self-defense after years of abuse by their father. This May, Judge Michael Jessic resentenced Eric and Lyle Menendez to 50 years to life in prison, making them immediately eligible for parole under the Youth Offender Parole Law. Jessic noted that he was moved by the support of letters from the prison guards and was amazed at the work the brothers had accomplished to better their lives of their fellow inmates. The brothers who watched the resentencing hearing from prison gave their own statements to the judge admitting their guilt. Although his parole was denied, Eric Menendez can ask for parole board review to review the case for errors, according to the Department of Corrections in California and Rehabilitations. Separately, California Governor Gavin Newsom can grant clemency to the Menendez brothers at any time. I think if Newsom was going to grant clemency, that would have already happened. All right, so that's that on that. I just, I have more hope for this is a bad boy right here. This boy here, this boy right here, this boy ain't nothing nice. That's a bad boy right there. Okay. What is this? Oh. Yeah, he's nothing nice. He is manipulative, deceitful. He has the look of someone that can, and I think based on the reports that we're hearing, like he can do great. However, he has demons in him that he's fighting, and he lets them win most of the time. Look at him. He just like, what are you what, sir? Okay, and then do you see how one smile looks manipulative and the other one just look goofy? They don't look like, to me, do they, or am I tripping? They just don't look like their story. I just don't see it. With that being said, I have a lot more hope for Lyle Menendez again in this scenario than I do for Eric. Even in the next 3 years, I really, really would hope that Eric gets his stuff together and really gets it going. I'm hoping that he can get parole in the next 3 years. A 3-year dump is really harsh. That's really harsh. The fact that they were like, well, you can get another parole date in 3 years, that means that they're not even considering letting him out at this time at all. They weren't like, come back in a year, no action, you know what I mean? No action, come back in a year. They weren't like, okay, denied, we'll set another review at 10 months or 5 months. No, they were like, he's not coming out right now. Holla at me in like 1,000 some odd days. Bye. That's a long time to get dumped. So, I think that's the max for just not giving an F and kind of just throwing a person back into the system. That was a lot. Anyway, make sure y'all join this channel, Teahive Bookclub. Also, make sure that you guys, tune in today for my interview with AT2. I'm going to try to do my eyebrows and stuff, y'all. I just listen. Okay? I'm going to try to get the look together. Look at my little nanny down there at the bottom. Hey, girl. Hi, my little doodle noodle. So, yeah. I made this picture last night for the thumbnail for AT2. I thought it was really cute. Used AI to remix it. Really cute picture. I'm excited. How many of you guys are excited for this interview? Yes, yes, yes. All right, I know y'all at work. Lyle Menendez has his parole hearing today. Y'all see it took Eric 10 hours. So we'll be back with his results. If not today, then tomorrow. I will talk a little bit more about it. In the meantime, in between time, tune into this interview with AT2 and I on AT2's channel at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.